it's Bella here with Mr. Jack Palmer. Mr. Palmer is a veteran with the 307. He is also our parliamentarian. Mr. Palmer, what does a parliamentarian do?
A parliamentarian is a person who has all of the laws on how to act and act in the life to do things in the community.
What was your job with the 307?
I was a pilot in the 307 bomb group, and I wound up as the operations control officer.
Can you tell us a memory from the South Pacific?
Oh, yes. Place rains every day. About 11 o'clock, rain, and then it would go away again, and then it would be a nice day. Take off in the wet or in the dry, either way. And they're pretty islands.
Thank you for sitting with me and for your service to the 307.
Oh, we're all done already?
Yeah.
Gee.
Mr. Palmer just told me that he just turned 90. Do you have any advice for people young like me?
Yes, I do. There's one thing I always go for, and I've been around for a while, is never let your engine go to idle.
Thank you for your time, and thank you
You're
for
quite
serving
welcome.
the 307.
My pleasure.
Go.
And I'm Bella. We're here with Mr. Poti. So, Mr. Poti, are you enjoying the reunion?
I really am enjoying the reunion. Yes, this is great. Great place to be in Indianapolis.
What was your rank and your position in the Army?
I ended up being a tech sergeant. I was a tail gunner and assistant engineer.
How old were you when the war started?
Well, I was about 16, and I enlisted when I was 17, and I wasn't called in until I was 18.
Do you have any memories you can share?
Oh, there's a lot of memories, yes, but getting together with the crew, training, and then ending up with our crew overseas. We made a lot of missions together, and long-time missions. So that was quite an experience. And when you were young, you didn't mind all of those 17-hour trips.
Can I ask one more question? Absolutely. Did you ever get in fights when you were on the plane with the other crew members?
No. We got along very well. We were all friends. And our pilot once told us, he was kind of strict. He said, if you see me do something, then you can do it. Otherwise, you don't do it.
Thank you for your time and for your service to our country.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Hi, it's Val here, and I'm with Mr. John Wright. Mr. John Wright, are you enjoying the reunion?
Oh, yes, certainly.
What was your rank and crew position in the Army?
Well, my final rank was technical sergeant as a radar operator on B-24.
How old were you when the war started?
When the war started, I think it was 14 or 15.
Wow. Do you have any memories you can share?
Well, one thing to begin with, I graduated from high school and had a job working at a steel mill. And on my 18th birthday, I had to register for the draft. And I went to the draft board, and the secretary asked me if I was taking the day off work. And she said, if you are, why don't you get your first physical today, and you won't have to miss another day's work. So she gave me forms to go to the family doctor, and I went through it, and he looked at it, and he said, when's your birthday? And I said, today. He said, well, you've been drafted? I said, well, I guess so, and I told him the story, and he said, well, if you don't want to go now, he said, I can delay this a little bit. I said, well, all the guys I went to high school with, most of them are in the service now anyway, so I might as well go. So then next month, that was in October, and then in November I had my final physical, report for active duty, and December 21st, 1940, 43. And then, well, when I went to Fort Meade, Maryland, I said, let's back up a little bit. I'm originally from western Pennsylvania, a town called California, Pennsylvania. And so they sent us down to Fort Meade, Maryland. I guess it wasn't. Anyway, we were sworn in down there. And I thought shortly I was going to go to the infantry. And I had an interview, and the sergeant said, how would you like to fly for the Army Air Corps? I said, great. And so then I went to basic training in Miami Beach. And that was terrible because we had to use the stairs. We weren't allowed to use the elevator. But that was only for 2 weeks. So, on the 8th floor of the Blackstone Hotel. And after that, it was on the 2nd floor of the Empire Hotel. And of course, we had one set of steps in. So that was pretty good. But then, I don't know how long you want me to go on. But, when finished basic training, went to Scottsville, Illinois for radio school. And the 16th week of radio school, you had to fill out a form requesting your next station. So somebody told me, why don't you get radar? It's pretty good. I said, what is it? So anyway, out of maybe 200 or 300 graduated class, he took 10 or 12 to radar school. And I went to radar school and then overseas. But one interesting story is that the first day I reported to 424th, I was the only replacement that day. And the driver dropped me off in front of the tent, and he said, this is operations in there. So I went in, and the officer there was Lieutenant Perry. And he looked over my orders, and he said, I see you went to radio and radar school. I said, yeah. He said, where'd you go to gunnery school? I said, I didn't go to gunnery school. So he said, well, we'll take care of that. So he saw a sergeant he knew was a gunner and called him in and said, go get a 50 caliber machine gun, show this guy how to field strip it, clean it, and put it back together. And after a couple of hours under a coconut tree, I became a gunner. But the worst part about it is, on the second mission, the pilot said to the radio man, he said, you stay on the radio today and let the radar man take that waist gun. And so the pilot didn't know me. I didn't know any of the crew. I flew just with the plane. No, it was not a single crew. And so we're out about 3 hours, and the pilot said, all right, get your guns ready and the test fire. And so I said to the other waist gunner, who I just met, I said, how do you hook this thing up? He said, what are you talking about? Didn't you go to gunnery school? I said, no. He had a few comments to make about that. And then he showed me how to put the gun in place and put the ammunition belt in place. And that was my gunnery training.
Wow.
But about radar in 424th, well, in each squadron, I think it's 307, we had 2 radar planes and 2 radar operators. So we flew whenever they needed radar, or thought they needed anything. Bad weather or a shipping search or something like that. And my longest mission was to Balikpapan, Borneo. And that was, I think it was close to 17 hours. But fortunately for me, it was late when I got over there. I didn't go overseas till 45. And we didn't have much air opposition. We still had a lot of flak to throw at us, but no airplanes. And I ended up with 9 missions simply because we had at that time we had 2 radar operators and 1 radar plane. And so we had to take our turns and maybe fly once every 2 weeks, and maybe not that often. But it was interesting. We bombed out a few airfields and ships cargo ships. And they were trying to get the oil from Borneo up to their airfield because what the Pappas was their oil supply. And, we bombed out some of their tankers that they were using wooden ships and moving them during the night, and during the day they would hide in the coves along the coastline. And we would go straight them if we found them on the way home from the bombing. And that was interesting because if they had any explosives while you're strafing them, they blew up in the air higher than we would fly. And so might as well continue. When the war was over, we moved to Clark Field. I was only there 2 or 3 days, and some of us decided to play touch football in a rice paddy. And I'm running out to catch a pass, and there was a hole there covered with grass, whatever it was, and I stepped in it and broke my leg. And so I didn't come back to the States till a few months later. And then when at a reunion in San Antonio, I was sitting at the table there with a guy who had a 424th badge on, but I didn't know him. And we started talking a little bit. And he started talking about it because he'd gotten over there after I did. And he was talking about Manila and all that, you know. I said, well, I didn't get to see much of that. I said, because after I was there a few days, we went out to play football. He said, you're the guy that broke your leg, aren't you? He said, I was just about 10 feet away from him. So it sounded like he stepped on a big branch. Because it did make a heck of a noise. My leg looked like I had 2 joints in it. That's about all I want to say now. I could continue further, but I'll give you a chance to say something.
Well, thank you for your time as we search for our country.
You're welcome.
Hi, it's Bella, and I'm here with Miss Betty Creeder. Well, Miss Betty Creeder, where are you from?
Baltimore, Maryland. My father and my sister, my daughter and I are out here for the reunion.
Wow, what's your connection to the 307?
My dad, John Wright, was in the 13th Air Force, 307th, 424th Squadron, and he was a radar man.
Wow. Are you enjoying the reunion?
Oh, I love it. It was interesting. This is only my 4th reunion. The first one my sister and I attended with my dad. On the way home, we said, oh, we're having a great time. We really enjoyed it. And he said, and then we said to him, why did you wait so long to let us come to your reunions? And he said, I didn't think you'd enjoy it. So I encourage everybody now, don't think, just come. Just show up, because it'll be fun for them.
What's been your favorite part?
My favorite part is sitting in the hospitality room listening to the stories of the guys.
Have you discovered anything interesting from the veterans?
I think the most interesting thing is that they were so young and they did so much, and then they just got back and they started living their lives, and that's very important. They did so much for this country, and we're just blessed to have them here, that's for sure.
Well, thank you for visiting the 307.
You are certainly welcome. Thank you for all your work.